baby hot. Don't speak to any moment. Product of her environment. Shout out to global woman. Can't box her in with any trend. No, she's a global woman. Call Fire Marshal Bill. Now let me tell you something. Flawless, beautiful. Follow codes down to her toes. Cuticles, picking rolls with the flow. Slam dunking all the goals. Silvers for the novice and golds for the pros.
What's going on, everybody out there in TV land, on YouTube and on TikTok Live? We come to you tonight to interrupt your regular scheduled program. Hey, y'all, we got a banger tonight. The mic is hot. The phone lines are ready. We're about to get into this thing. But first of all, let me say this. Hey, TikTok, thank y'all for being our new crowd. We got a new audience. But TikTok, do me a huge favor. Kyra, if you can do me a favor. Kyra, we're going to put the link right into the TikTok chats, and I need y'all to come over to YouTube and watch us live on YouTube. So look for Kyra's name. She gonna put it on TikTok, so y'all can come watch us live on YouTube. Hey YouTube, don't forget to click that like button. It's the thumbs up. Then slide your finger on over and press the subscribe. And don't forget to click the all so you get all of the notifications when we're going live or dropping new content. Lastly, share. You might ask, share this video to where? Well, most of us have Facebook, so that's where you can share it to, or anywhere you desire. Yes. Share these messages with everybody right now. Take a moment out while I'm doing the morning announcements or the evening announcements, and you can share this with your people, like say in church, old school church doing the announcements. Share this right now. Also, we're doing something new. Every time we hit the 200 milestone mark with subscribers, we're going to the chat and find one or two people and send them a gift. But you must be a subscriber to participate. That's why it's very important for you guys on TikTok to go and watch us live on YouTube, so you can be in the comment section and you can get a prize. All right. Also, check this small video out about my Stop Playing Apparel company. Stop Playing was created to motivate, inspire, uplift, and inform individuals about viewing life through an alternate lens. No two individuals travel the same road or embark on the same journey. Yet, obstacles are faced by all. Despite the challenge, if you believe it, you can achieve it. By purchasing a shirt, you can be part of motivating and inspiring someone to achieve greatness. Come join the movement at stopplaying.net. Yes, come join the movement at stopplaying.net. So y'all, I want to give y'all this little disclaimer tonight. Y'all know what's next. It's story time. I like my little graphic. Kyra say my Bill Cosby sweater.
Mr. Rogers.
Oh, Mr. Rogers sweater. But okay, so tonight, it's story time. It's gonna be a little bit longer than normal because I need to build it up, and it got to do with what we're talking about on this show tonight. So before I do my story time, matter of fact, Ed, Obi, what are we talking about tonight?
Tonight we're talking about communication. Different ways that we can communicate in relationships, things like that.
Just tonight
I'm waiting for the topic to pop up.
Oh, it's not gonna pop up. Don't worry about it.
All right.
So, but before we get into a story time, before we get into the topic and we get into the whole meats and potatoes of the nuts and bolts of the podcast, hello, my name is Edmund Chapman. I am the CEO of Stop Playing Apparel, and I reside in South Carolina.
My name is Obi. I don't have clothing apparel. I live in North Carolina also. Looking forward to some snow, hopefully, within the next couple of days.
My name is Kyra from California.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jen, and I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Hi, everyone. My name is Victoria, and I am also from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Everybody, welcome to the show. Everybody, give it up to the people. Give it up. All right, now we can get to Ed's story time. Again, like I said, it's a build-up for what Obi said tonight's show is. Okay, so I'm from Chicago, right? So I gotta use my Bernie Mac voice. Long time ago, long time ago, long time ago. When I was in my 20s, me and my partners, we used to go to. That sounds old, don't it? Me and my partners, me and my boys used to go to a strip club a lot. I'm not really into the strip club. I never was into it then. I'm not into it now. But the homies want to go, so I used to roll with them. And when we used to go to the strip club, one day I met this. Oh my God, Obi, woo, beautiful lady. I'm just gonna say it like that. Beautiful, beautiful woman. And so I wasn't interested in like watching her dance or nothing like that. But I knew Obi to get her number, I had to go get a lap dance. I'm like, oh, this sucks. I don't like strip club. I'm like, this sucks. So I got a, and then Chicago. I don't know how it is now. Like I said, I don't really visit strip club like that. But in Chicago, then they take you to this back room, this big old buff security guard back there, and you can't touch the lady. Now you just sit there and she dancing, whatever. So the whole time she dancing, I'm in her ear, Obi, spitting that good game, Obi, putting that Mac down on her, Obi. And so she told me like, well, they're not allowed to give anybody their numbers, but I can whisper into your ear. You just have to remember it. So the whole time, I'm not focusing on nothing but the number. I'm repeating it over and over in my head. And so when I went back, of course, you know what guys do. I told all my guys, oh, this baddie. And I got her number, et cetera, et cetera. So long story short, we talked a couple of times. I seen her, and that was her first day working there. She actually had another job where she was like a swim teacher or something like that. So one day, so like I said, we went often. So we went back like maybe 3 weeks later, we went back. And then after I seen her that day, the next day she told me, I don't want you to come back there. And so you have to think about, I'm in my 20s. So you know what I did in my 20s. I went off like, who the F you think you talking to? Like, don't tell me what to do. And I'm just going off on her. And she's so nice. She didn't yell at me. She didn't rebuttal. She just on the phone, nice with it. And my thing is, I didn't have no emotional intelligence. I know how to regulate my emotions. I'm just like, you don't tell me what to do. I met you there. I understand this you do for a living. I get it. And the reason I'm sending this whole story is because if I handle the communication better, you know, anybody been a better outcome. I didn't ask her like, why you don't want me to come there no more. I didn't have a really adult conversation with her. I just got mad because I felt like she was dictating to me. And I feel like a lot of times as humans, we get so upset and get so fired up when somebody says something to us that we don't handle it right because we don't use our communication skills. And Obi, like when I went back there again, she didn't work there no more. She had already quit. So I was just probably for a short time. And so I'm getting all mad about something that could have been, you know, who knows what it could have been, Obi. But I wasn't able to. I didn't have no wise counsel back then. I didn't know how to have a mature conversation. I didn't know how to, like I said, regulate my emotions with her. And I could have potentially lost a good thing. And so that's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about how can we have healthy communication within a relationship. And I didn't have healthy communication deal with that young lady. I just went off, yelled at her, got in my feelings. Guys, y'all getting y'all feelings too. I know we all say ladies do. Men getting their feelings too. I was in my feelings big time. And now that I laugh about it, that's why I have to build the story up. And I'm like, man, this would be good for the podcast tonight because we're talking about communication. And I just didn't have really good communication. So hopefully we can help people out to have better communication and get a better understanding when somebody's asking them something or relaying a message to them. But before we kick it off, Kyra, I want you to give us a little bit of context about what we're going to talk about tonight.
All right. So for me, a little bit of context and background is being able to effectively communicate with the other person, being able to listen, being able to share your feelings and emotions, being able to articulate exactly how you're feeling, and more than hopefully in a calm, cool, collective way, being able to exercise self-awareness and self-control and taking a step back if it doesn't need to be discussed in the heat of the moment and coming and revisiting it later, but just being able to have different things like body language, eye contact to help establish good communication within a relationship. And while we're talking about, the focus of tonight is relationship, communication skills can help you thrive anywhere, whether it's professional, personal, in any kind of realm that you're dealing with in life.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Her diction is so well, y'all. She speaks so clear with the great diction and stuff.
And I just have to say something really, really quickly, because I would be remiss if I didn't. It's been on my heart and on my mind all day. There's people in California, there's fires that are losing their homes. I just ask that people continue to pray for them. And then as well as people that were affected in New Orleans, please pray for those families as well. That's my part. All right, Ed.
So, matter of fact, Kyra, since you did that, I forgot to do this earlier. Let's just take a moment of silence for the people in California and for the people with that crazy, heinous act in New Orleans. We're going to take a little moment of silence for the people. Thank you. So we're going to get into the first question, guys, of the night. So the first question of the night is, what does healthy communication means to you in a relationship? Again, what does healthy communication means to you in a relationship? Anybody can jump in when you get ready. And I'll kick it off. Everybody, they're pondering. So healthy communication to me is not only talking, because I was talking to my coworker today about this. He like talking. I said, no. It got to go deeper than just talking. You have to listen too. And healthy, when you think about communicating, you got to be able to communicate your words correctly. Even if you don't have the best diction like Kyra, you still got to be able to get your words out and form a good sentence so the person knows what you're talking about. But you also have to be able to listen as well. You got to have effective listening skills, because it's one thing I'm just talking, and then when you're talking, I'm not listening, or vice versa. So to me, it goes deeper into just having a conversation. It's like, the talking. You got to have a conversation, means it got to be a dialogue back and forth. I don't think one person, Obi, it's my opinion, happened to me before. I don't think one person just talk for like 20 minutes and you got to sit there and wait and got to adjust everything they said. And then it's your turn. Like, I got to remember 20 minutes of stuff you said. And then you get mad if I forget something. So I think it got to do with talking and also listening.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ed. And on that note, it's kind of funny that you brought it up. When I'm having serious conversations, and this is real talk, I really do this. I'll take out my phone and like jot notes down. I'm not texting anybody. I'm not talking to anybody, but I'll take notes. And that's only because, like Ed said, sometimes people of the opposite sex can just talk. And we as men feel like we can't get our point across. So for me, that's just the best way to do that. But I think the main thing for me, Ed, is I think everybody that's having that conversation needs to respect each other. I think the man needs to respect the woman, and I think that the woman needs to respect the man. I think that you're right when you said that both sides need to communicate. But I think, Ed, if you're having a conversation with Kyra, you need to listen to Kyra while she's talking and digest everything and hear everything. And vice versa, Kyra, when Ed's talking, I think you need to listen to everything that Ed is saying and digest anything. And I think if you guys start arguing, you need to walk away, because you're not having effective communication when you start arguing, because everybody's just trying to get a point across, but nobody's listening and trying to make the situation better.
And I think it's more about listen to understand and not listen to respond to.
Yep. You're right. Yep. And then one more thing, you ain't always going to agree with everything. Sometimes I think it's best to agree to disagree and move on. I've been in that situation a lot too. And that's in relationships and in situations with family, friends, and coworkers. Sometimes you just got to agree to disagree and move on.
So Obi, before I let the ladies chime in, I know they want to get in on this too. I want to challenge you on that. I don't really like the phrase agree to disagree. I like to use it as, okay, let's come up with a solution. Because at the end of the day, we need to come up with a solution, because it's going to resurface each other. If I'm like, okay, let's agree to disagree and move on, it's going to resurface. So let's come up with a plan. I feel like you should come up with a plan of action, even if you don't agree. Still come up with a plan of action so you can move on, so it won't resurface later on in life. Go ahead, Kyra.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but sometimes, like, Kyra knows you, and Kyra knows that you're not going to come up with a solution, and vice versa. So sometimes you have to agree to disagree because you already know, your mate, you know how she is, you know how he is. You're not going to come to a solution or an agreement. So sometimes you got to be like, okay, you said that, you said that. Let's just walk away from it, and we still good. Kiss, do whatever, and call it an argument. Make it over.
Ladies, y'all chime in.
I actually agree with Obi on this one in terms
Oh,
of
Elizabeth.
agreeing to disagree, because coming up with a solution I don't think is always practical or realistic, but being able to listen to what the person said, acknowledging that you hear them and that you feel and think differently, I think that's healthy, and it can be respected from both people. And so I also ditto everything that you all said. Additionally, I think it's important to know what the other person that you're communicating needs. Like, it for me, I need to be heard. And sometimes I need to have validation. Words of affirmation is my love language. So there's a kind of way that I move. And if you know me and have that intimate relationship with me, then you know what works for me. And that's also what I give as well. And then I think it's also important to know and respect that there are certain ways that people can hear things. And so it may not need to be said right then in the moment. It could be the tone of your voice when you're saying it. It's how the message is relayed, and saying, I'd like to, if you're open for a discussion, I'd like to discuss what happened last night, as opposed to, we're going to talk about what happened last night because the sun isn't about to go down another night. There's so much just on voice and everything. So delivery is definitely important. And in today's day and age, for me, like, paying attention and me having your undivided attention is important. I'm not trying to talk to you and you're watching a TikTok reel at the same time, shaking your head in agreement, but you couldn't repeat what I just said. So I need your full undivided attention and to feel like I'm being heard and listened to. And I need there to be engaging in conversation.
So, Kyrie, real quick, I want to ask you, when you agree to disagree, and I'm gonna get off the soapbox with that one, you don't think it'll resurface? Now, I understand you can't come with a plan of action right then and there. But I'm saying eventually, because I feel like you don't feel like it can resurface if y'all don't really come with a solution to it. Because when you agree to disagree, I feel like it's going to resurface its ugly head eventually again. And it's going to keep coming up until we figure out, okay, what is the solution we got to come up with? And like somebody might have to die to themselves, like it said in the Bible, you die to yourself. Somebody have to, like, all right, let's just try your way. Somebody got to do something eventually. I just feel like eventually, if we don't come up with a plan of action, eventually, then it's not going to ever get solved. And then I'll let the ladies go ahead and chime in. Go ahead, Obi. I see you on the tip of your tongue. Go ahead, Obi.
I just want to say real quick, as long as you're dealing with two mature people, I think you can be okay. But I do understand what you're saying, Ed, because I've been in those situations where you can't agree to disagree. But if you're dealing with two mature people, grown people, that ain't got no time for no foolishness and no cattiness and no mess, I think you can walk away. And I don't think that conversation will ever come up again if you're mature and old enough to handle it. Just my opinion.
I don't think that things coming up have to do on maturity or anything like that. Things can sometimes resurface, and sometimes it could be, remember when we had this conversation and we agreed to disagree. So do we want to revisit it and try to come up with something different, or are we going to stick to the original plan? I'm going to stop talking and let Victoria and Jen chime in.
Yeah, we're
sorry, ladies. We apologize. We so used to each other. Go ahead.
So I hear what each one of you are all saying.
Hold on, Jen. Before you go, Jen, hold on. Let me read the question because everybody's more people tuning in. So the question right now we're talking about is, what does healthy communication means to you in a relationship? And right now we're about to get Jen's thought process. I think Jen's the only one married on here, so this is really going to be interesting to hear.
So healthy communication is emotional safety. It involves you being able to be vulnerable and have the difficult conversations that might not come easy with someone that you don't have that type of relationship with. So specifically speaking with romantic relationships, you might be pulling on things that go back to past traumas and triggers and the way you were raised and all that kind of stuff. But to kind of touch on what you said, Ed, as far as like agreeing to disagree and the subject kind of coming back up later on, there are core themes within arguments and the subject might change, but some of those core themes could be disrespecting boundaries. It could be power struggles. It can be going tit for tat. And if you can identify the core themes that you and your significant other typically argue over, and you bring that validation that Kyra was talking about, you can tackle a lot of those subjects very, very easily. So active listening, being able to keep the eye contact, leaning in, nodding your head, reflecting back what your significant other might be saying, and providing, there's a difference between sympathy and empathy. I don't have to break my ankle to know that it hurts, right? I can provide some of that empathy. And I can also tell you, I know where you're coming from. I don't agree. That's not my story. That's not my viewpoint. That's not my perspective, but I get it. And that's where the agreeing to disagree can come in.
Definitely agreeing with everything you just said. Just to reiterate, I am wholeheartedly on that. I also think in order to have a healthy form of communication, you have to go in with an open mind. So you have to realize, am I going in there to start an argument, or am I going in there to solve a problem that we have been having for a while? Again, going back to what Jen had said, if you identify that the core issue is something that keeps presenting itself again, well, deal with that rather than what is going around the issue. I guess you have to take into consideration the situation in which it happened. But as long as you, like what we had said, have that maturity, have that what's the word? As long as you have that like reaffirmation of what that person is looking for, as long as you go in with that mindset, I think that's what would be able to help present the issue a little bit more.
Can I add one thing?
Go ahead. Jump in, Jen. Go ahead.
All right. So the another thing that I found with couples are they can't bring resolution to a problem because they are bringing in other issues. Well, since you mentioned that, let me tell you how you made me mad the other day. Oh, since we're talking about that, why don't we bring in this? So one thing that I like to try to focus on is let's bring resolution to this issue. Not to say that your frustrations aren't important, but can we deal with mine right now and then kind of touch on yours after we figure out a way to resolve that? This way you're not running around in circles and exhausting yourselves before you end up, focusing on just that one issue that brought up the initial frustration.
And on that point, communication doesn't have to happen just because there's an argument that presents itself. Communication can be an everyday conversation between you and the person that you are talking to, because at that point you will be able to deal with the issues that won't have to be brought back into the situation after, like you had said, well, I'm mad at this, but I'm also mad at you for that yesterday. If you had dealt with that yesterday, that wouldn't have to be brought into the conversation of today.
Yeah. And to piggyback off of what Victoria just mentioned, a good question to ask that is really simple is like, how are you feeling? Mm-hmm. And that opens the gate. It could be like, I'm tired. I'm super energized. I had a rough day. I'm glad you asked because I wanted to discuss something that bothered me yesterday because I'm still a little affected.
Obi, these ladies are on fire. Wait a minute, I'm taking my jacket off. Wait a minute, Obi. They trying to kill us right now. They on fire. I love it.
You know what? I was just about to say that. Yeah, because they trying to kill us, but I understand it because they don't think like men, and men don't think like women because we don't think to ask the questions that Kyra said. I mean, not to say why would we, but that's just not how we think. You know what I'm saying? We don't think like that.
We want to solve the problem and move on.
Exactly.
We don't want it to linger. We don't want to wait tomorrow. We are problem solvers. Ladies, like, wait a minute, we got to handle it a little bit delicately. We're not trying to handle that. We trying to come with the. They coming with the with a little bitty hammer that the little
Yeah.
cute hammer they have. We come with a sledgehammer.
Sledgehammer. Yeah, we want to knock it out quick and move on.
Sometimes that is the problem, though, gentlemen, because sometimes we're not looking for you to jump into problem-solving mode. So one thing that I would recommend men do in their relationship is ask their wife, their girlfriend, what do you need from me right now in the moment? Do you need a listening ear, or do you want me to problem solve? And this way, you know, because sometimes that can make us mad. Like, I don't need you to figure out how to do this for me. I need you to just listen, reflect, validate, you know. Tell me I'm not crazy for feeling X, Y, and Z.
Let me write that down real quick. Give me a second, Ed.
Hey, Kyra, while Obi's writing that down, go into the chat. Let's see what the chat talking about. Then we'll move on to the next question.
All right, we have
And let me know
somebody.
the phone lines open too, Kyra.
All right. So first and foremost, our phone lines are open. We would love to hear from you in the chat, but you can also call in so we can hear your voice. The call-in number is 704-891-9560. Again, the call-in number is 704-891-9560. You can call in and chime into the conversation. As far as the chat goes, people are talking about how it is important to have balance in a relationship, and how another person commented that you can certainly acknowledge what the other person said, but a solution is still needed because the issue will surely come up again. And so those are a couple comments that are currently relevant in what we're talking about. And I wanted to, there was something that Obi said that I can connect with, which is taking notes. For me, a lot of conversations can happen over the phone. My memory is not what it used to be. And so I know that I will forget something. And sometimes it could be something that's important to someone else. So sometimes in the moment, I'll be like, hold on, let me make a note of that. Like whether that's a date that we're going to have, or you need me to pick up something from the store, or it could be a special day that for you, like your work anniversary that I want to celebrate. So I'll put it in my calendar or jot it down because I might not remember off the top of my head. But if I have something to refer back to, I'll be able to say, you know, happy work anniversary. And it's like, wow, you remembered that? Yeah. Well, I didn't remember. I used my calendar because you expressed that it was important to me. I mean, you expressed it was important to you, and so I want to share in that celebration with you.
That's good, Kyra. And I forgot to say this at the beginning of the show. Happy New Year, everyone. This is our first show in the new year. We took 2 weeks off. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope the start of your new year is great. This year, we're doing Don't Kill My Vibes in 25. We're not doing no drama. You see Obi and Kyra even on the same page. Hello, somebody. They ain't never on the same page. So, yeah, this year we're doing things different. And I just hope everybody starting off to a good year. And I want to say this before moving to the next question. Ladies, don't get so upset when guys don't think the way y'all think when it comes to this subject. You know, you so I don't want, like Jen said, no, I didn't want you to fix it. I wanted the ear. I mean, we just process things differently. So that's why we had this podcast to understand each other. So don't chew our head off, bite our head off, because we want to solve the problem. We want to help you get to the end goal. And you like, no, babe, I just want you to listen. But I think sometimes women get frustrated with that. So I don't want you like guys, ladies, to get frustrated us men because we're just trying to get to the end goal to make everybody happy. So I'm gonna move on to the next question. What tools or strategies have you found most effective for resolving conflict? Again, what tools? Now, Jen, you probably can help us out the most because you want married on here. Or strategies have you found most effective for resolving conflicts?
Definitely the validation piece. And I would say reflection, because sometimes what I'm saying is not being heard. So by you asking for clarity, I can verify whether or not that's exactly what I'm saying. And oftentimes we all just want to know that you get my viewpoint. And after the reflection, after the validation, let's go with who might be stronger. So when it comes to finances, my husband is amazing. He's a finance guru, knows all things money management, budgeting, investments, the whole nine, right? That is not my strong suit. So although I might not agree or I might not think it's the best choice, I can trust him that he's not going to lead me astray because he's done his research. When things are related to children and health related things, that's more of my strong suit. So let's talk about it. Let's reflect, let's validate and figure out who might have the better approach.
That's good. Anybody want to chime in?
I think for me, one thing that has worked as a tool is being quick to speak, quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. And being able just to listen and not listening to respond, as you stated earlier, Ed. And sometimes doing some self-evaluation or self-reflection. Was I overreacting? Was I in a mood? And when this information was shared, as a result of the mood, I responded this way. Was I cranky or hungry? Was I unloading on something, taking something from 0 to 60 that didn't necessarily need to be done that way? And then also in connection with what Jen said, just giving an example of like that reflection and is mirroring what the person said. So like, I heard you say X, Y, and Z, or I heard you say it really frustrates you when I run out of gas or let my gas tank get really low because you're concerned about my safety. So just repeating and mirroring so that they know that you're listening to what they said. And I had another one that I was thinking that helps me, which is it's on the line of empathy, the definition of empathy is kind of putting yourself in another person's shoes and looking at it from their perspective. And so it could be how you treat them or how you respond or how you respond to a text message or answer the phone, and just questioning yourself, would I want this person to talk to me like that, or to respond like that, or to treat me this kind of way? And if you wouldn't, then don't.
Yeah, for me, man, I think my biggest things are listening, taking notes, and paying attention. The listening piece I've learned from women, because a lot of women don't think that we listen to them. So I try to listen as much as I can. And like I stated earlier, I take a lot of notes. If people are talking about something generic, I may take notes just because I thought something was intriguing. And as far as paying attention, I pay attention to everything. I pay attention when people don't think I'm paying attention. Especially if I'm involved with somebody, I'm always watching what she's doing, but I'm watching the people around her too, because at the end of the day, I got to protect you. So I'm a very vigilant person when it comes to me and my family. And those
we know you listening over. We know you vigilant over because you told Kyra last time, like, "Oh, look at Kyra, she must got a hot date." You know, Kyra had a little lipstick on last time. Yeah, you was vigilant.
Oh yeah, I pay attention to everything and everybody, everything.
I think it's important to know yourself and the person you're talking to or the person you are communicating with. For the person, you have to be able to read their body language, know what they will respond best to, not to walk on eggshells around them, but to know that if I say this, they will respond like this. If I say this, that person might shut down, and therefore they're not going to be listening to what I'm trying to say. For my own selfish reason, I will step away when I know that I might be getting heated or if I feel my emotions are rising, because then I know that I myself will shut down. That means I won't be able to listen and understand what the person is trying to say to me. Therefore, we're going to have continuous strife. So if we both take our time apart and then have that reflection piece, we will be able to come back together and hopefully not have as much of a heated discussion or have as much of that lack of communication.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's good. I forgot to mention earlier too, Ob. These two young ladies, they famous. Y'all look them up. They part of the Elevation Choir. They famous, y'all out here. They part of the Elevation Choir. If y'all know about Elevation. They in that choir. They were singing
So
like
they
angels.
sang. They sang.
They sang.
Mm.
But
I wanted to add two things real quick, Ed. One is based off what one of the comments says, which is not letting it build up. And I think a tool could be having an agreement that you won't go a certain period of time without discussing something. So
good.
that could look like a 24-hour rule, and maybe, delving a little bit into something like saying, I'm in my feelings right now, or I feel a type of way because, but let's revisit it when I've had time, like Victoria said, to step away, to self-evaluate, self-reflect, or whatever. And so just agreeing that that's what's going to happen so that you're both on the same page and no one is texting or ghosting or in their feelings for some ridiculous period of time saying, I was waiting for you to call. Well, I was waiting for you to call and I thought you needed time and you did need time. And yeah, just being clear and on the same page. And then secondly is asking for what you need, because everyone does not know how to communicate, and some people have grown up in different toxic relationships where there's yelling and screaming and cussing, and that's what's normal to them, and that's the only thing that they know from people in a relationship. So that could look like, I need you to stop yelling at me right now because I don't respond well when you raise your voice. Or I need to take a couple moments right now. Let's come back in 5 or 10 minutes to revisit this. Or I'm getting off the phone right now because I'm really frustrated, but I'm going to give you a call back shortly.
Nuggets. I'm learning tonight.
Take
And
them
for,
notes.
On that a little bit more.
huh?
Can I touch on that a little bit
Oh yeah,
more?
go ahead.
Tyra? So oftentimes we begin to raise our voice and yell because we're not being heard. So again, that validation or reflection rather, is really helpful because someone won't feel the need to repeat themselves or shout. And to kind of touch on making sure you come back within 24 hours or even less, paying attention to how long the conversation is going is also really, really helpful, because whatever needs to be said can be said in a few sentences or less. I feel X when Y happens. And then the other person can kind of come in and either offer an apology or a solution or whatever. You don't need to keep having the same conversation. Then that's when you start repeating yourself. That's when you start yelling. That's when you're bringing other situations in. Let's focus and try to condense it as much as possible. And then and start high level, right? You don't need to bring in all the details of what happened to you back when, right? Let the listener kind of do a little bit more digging for details if it's necessary. Oftentimes it's not necessary. Let's address the issue at hand and move on.
So before I get my answer, Jen, I want to ask you a question. So do you think you need to know the person's backstory to get to know them? I know you said you don't need to know way back when, but do you think you need to know? I need to know a little bit of whatever your husband's name is. I apologize, I can't remember it at the time. Backstory to know, like, oh, okay, I understand why he do or why Kyra do X, Y, Z, or what, you know what I'm saying, et cetera, et cetera. But you said you don't need to know way back when. But is it a time that you might do need to know the backstory?
I would say for more intimate relationships, yes. If we're talking friendships and I got really offended when you left me high and dry, we were supposed to meet up at the movies, I don't need to know, I don't need to share with you my abandonment issues that I had as a child. However, when it comes to more intimate relationships and I've got an unhealthy attachment to my husband and I'm like, you didn't answer the phone as soon as I called you and okay, can you tell me what is that trigger that you're dealing with? I feel like it's very scenario specific, and it depends on the depth of that relationship. So if I'm meeting somebody, hypothetically speaking, babe, I love you, I'm married, but if I met somebody on a dating app, right, and all of a sudden we're not as chatty as we once were, I don't need to tell this brand new person that I'm trying to get to know about all of my attachment triggers. But somebody that I am married to, yeah, it would be important.
Hey, Ed, I got a
Yeah.
quick question because Kyra mentioned this, and Jen just did too. And I'm not being sexist or any of that, but do women think that men don't hear them? Because you guys mentioned that a couple of times, and I disagree with that. But is that a thing?
Ladies, is that a
Yes.
thing? Do y'all think men don't listen to y'all ladies?
What?
Is that a thing?
Because you said you
Yes,
want to be heard.
I would say that that is definitely a thing, and it happens on, for me personally, it's on how you respond, it's on how you react, it's on how you might try to downplay my thoughts or feelings, or how you may not address it, or how you may try to sweep something under the rug that I was
Mm.
trying to have a discussion about, and you downplayed it and made me not feel validated, and I
So
didn't
it's
feel like I
situational
was
based for you,
listened
Kyra.
to. Say
No,
that
Ed.
again, Ed.
So it's
Ed, if you
situational
watch,
based for you, or is it situational based, or you just assume like any man you talking to ain't really listening?
Ed,
No,
if you watch the screen, Ed,
situational based.
Victoria and Jen was smiling, and Victoria, both of them was shaking their head while she was speaking. So that's really a
It could be
thing.
a common trait that a lot of men have, but I don't think any of us ladies would say all men don't listen. There are some skills that women have, there are some skills that men have. There's some people, both male and female, that are well-rounded in all areas of communication. There's some people that have developed different skills or lacked in some areas and grown and developed improvement in different areas. So if the shoe fits, get in where you fit in. Some men are amazing communicators and know how to navigate a conversation better than some women do. But I
Mm.
know an example of someone on the show that said that they would be having a phone conversation, but they're not fully listening because they're watching TV while the phone while the conversation is going on. So that would be a
Who's
great example
was
of
that you,
Wait a
Ed?
not
minute, who
Was that
listening.
says
you,
that?
Ed? Was that you, Ed?
I don't know. Was it you, Obi? Because I know
I
when
hope
Gina
not.
Victoria. Wait a minute now.
Don't put me
Don't
on
be coming
blast
for
like
us
that.
now. I told you we're 2025 now.
Hey, take her
Don't do
off.
that.
Hey, take her
I
off the
just wanted to
screen.
give an example of what effective listening does not look like, and how a person could be made to feel that you're not listening if you're not paying attention, or like, oh, what'd you say? Or hold on, I didn't get that. Or come again.
So, Kyle, you know what I learned from wise counsel is I felt like sometimes when somebody talking, you sitting there not saying nothing, it's not a good thing either. Even if you said, okay, they said that's better than saying nothing. I'm like, well, why? I'm sitting there, I'm giving you eye contact, I'm using my listening skills, but I might not agree, but I'm just sitting there like, and I figure like if I say okay, then I felt like I'm agreeing with you. But then when I talked to my wife's counselor, they said, no, that's not necessarily what that meant. That doesn't mean I hear you. It does not mean I agree with you. So that's just something I've learned in my older years. Because
Mhm.
let's call a spade a spade. I was a horrible communicator, like
Mm.
horrible. So I'm actually taking nuggets and learning stuff right now from you guys and from my wife's counsel and whatnot. But I was horrible in communicating, so I really don't have any tools or strategies to use. Only thing
Mhm.
I say for myself is I'm just gonna be blunt. I'm gonna say how I feel. I'm not gonna hold back. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything because I did a lot of times in my past relationship. I like held back or I might have sugarcoat something. I'm gonna say how I feel, no matter what it is. I'm gonna just regurgitate it out, and you take it how you take it. But I'm learning from you guys. That's why I'm glad we're having this conversation, and I'm learning from like older gentlemen about how to regulate my emotions, how to have open dialogue. And that's one of the things I learned, Kyra, was not saying nothing is also bad. Say something, even okay, you know, and just don't walk away from the conversation. If you're saying okay enough times, then that's how you can end the conversation if you don't necessarily agree with the person. But okay is not saying that you agree.
And I think it depends on how you navigate the conversations, because I've been in plenty conversations where I am engaged and listening, and reflecting and trying to understand what the person says. And so I am quiet because sometimes I can interrupt or ask questions, but I'm able to communicate that. And there's plenty of times that I'll say, I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm just I'm thinking about what you're saying. Or if somebody asks a question and there's a pause, I heard the question that you asked me. I'm just trying to think so that I can give you a full, honest answer. So give me a second.
But I feel like sometimes women think you're being dismissive if you're not saying anything. And I'm like, I'm not being dismissive to your feelings. I'm here. I'm having this because I say I was horrible. I hate communicating back in the day. Not now, not today, but back when I was a previous married and other relationship. I'm like, I'm listening. I'm here. You want to have this conversation at 11:33 at night? Knowing I got to be up at 12:01. Cool. Let's do it then. Okay. Forget my
Was your
sleep. Damn,
body
my sleep.
language saying that you're here? Were you
I'm,
rolling your eyes
I'm,
or like?
I'm a little irritated sometimes because if you know I got to be up at 1 o'clock and you want to talk at 11:30, I'm a little bit irritated. But I'm listening. I'm looking you dead in your eye, and I'm hearing you. And then, but I'm saying, and I can rebuttal. Like I said earlier, if you talk for 20 minutes, come on now, like I can't remember 20 minutes of like without there gotta be some dialogue
Take
back
some
and
notes
forth.
like Obi. Get your
I,
notepad,
Hey,
brother.
you so
I
better.
didn't know that.
Ooh,
I'm
hey,
learning
bro.
now. So I'm learning that I should have been taking some notes. But then when I don't say anything, that I don't want nobody to feel like I'm being dismissive. I don't know if this happened to you, Obi, before, but I think women
Mm-hmm.
think sometimes we're being dismissive. We're not. We are processing what you're saying and we are listening. So therefore, we're not just saying anything when we speak. We're taking it back.
Yep.
We're listening like, okay. And then the longer you go, like Jen said, it don't gotta be real long. Like longer you go, the more then you start getting a little irritated. Like, can I
Oh
get
yeah.
a word in?
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Now you
after
mad at me because
listening,
now my body language is because you talk for like 30 minutes. What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just
after
my
listening isn't just words though. You can sit there and you can nod your head. You can, like Jen said, you can lean in, you can lean back. As long as your body is moving in some form, it tells me, okay, you didn't fall asleep while I was on my long spiel about something. As long as I can see that you are also engaging in what I'm saying, then I can see that this is going to be a fruitful and productive conversation.
The other thing too is healthy communication requires a level of respect. So as your partner, Ed, if you got to be up at 12:01, we don't table this conversation until you come home because I know that you're not in a headspace anyway to hear what I got to say.
That's maturity. That's maturity though.
hold
Everybody
on,
don't think like
wait,
that.
hold on. Hold on, wait a minute. Jen is drop a nugget. Y'all know what I got to do in Jen when people drop a nugget. Oh man. That was Jen. Kyle, what's going on in the chat that we can move on to the next question?
In the chat, a tool somebody recommended is possibly having a discussion jar that you can put things into that you and your partner can discuss. And also, a person said, most people these days believe no response is a response. So to respond in a way that the person feels respected and heard and responsibly dealt with is key.
That's good. Hey y'all, again, make sure y'all are where the call line is open. The call line is open. It's 704-891-9560. It's New Year. We want to hear from you guys. Call in. Don't be long-winded, but call on in and post your question or whatever you want, or your statement. But we'd like for you guys to call in. And don't forget to click, like, and share this video. So right now, while I'm reading out the next question, click like, share this video. Okay? Right now. Right now. Y'all still looking at me. Click like right now. Y'all got it? Y'all clicking it? Cool. Okay. So the next question is, how do you approach discussions about difficult or sensitive topics? How do you approach discussions about something that might be a little bit difficult and very sensitive? Like I said a few minutes ago, I was horrible in communicating, so I'm just going to be blunt with you. Take it. I mean, I'm not going to try to say something that necessarily hurt your feelings, but I'm going to get my point out. I'm going to try to soften the blow, but I'm trying to be realistic with you too. We're not like going around the table, because I think sometimes we be what's it called, PC. And I think at times people don't need that PC. They need the real. Then you be 100 with them. If you love them, be 100 with them. But you don't have to cuss them out or say it in a mean way or have your face balled up like this. But I think we got to cut out to me. I know y'all better than me at this. I'm still learning, but we got to cut the PC out nowadays.
For me, and I'm just thinking about how I do it and how I've done it. It depends on the person, because you can't be as blunt as you want to be with some people, because they are sensitive. They may not be able to take it. It depends on what you got to talk to somebody about. So I think of the person first, and I think of my approach on how I'm approaching to say what I need to say to get it off my chest. Sometimes you do have to be blunt if it's a serious subject or a serious situation. But sometimes, for me, when it comes to women, you got to soften the blow. I have to figure out a way how to soften that blow. I can't tell somebody like how I want them to do something, because they're not me. They're not going to approach it in the same manner that I'm approaching. And that's just the way I do it.
I think you have to have a healthy foundation before you even think about your approach. You have to have a open line of communication. So before I try to figure out how I should approach someone, I have to know that I can first approach them in every aspect of my life and every aspect of their life. I have to know that they are ready to receive what I have to tell them in good faith and at a good heart, that what I'm telling them and trying to have a conversation with them, the topic that it is about is going to be for their own benefit. So before I do that, I have to have that foundation. And then on top of that is when I can think about, again, going back to knowing that person, knowing their body language, knowing that they react to this, they respond to this, they are a little more sensitive, or they can handle it. They are more of a tough love, or they are more of I have to hug them, smack them up a little bit, and then hug them again. You just have to know the person you're talking to.
So do y'all think the approach of y'all can process this two way? Y'all think about your answers. I'm a jokester, right? So even when a sensitive subject come up, I like to try to crack a joke to maybe soften the blow, and that might not always be the best thing to do. So what do y'all think about that? Because I think that's the way I would come in, be blunt, but actually try to crack a joke to hopefully, and you might be like, that wasn't funny. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I tried. I'm saying, Kyra, I tried. Y'all know I'm trying to communicate a thing. What y'all think about that? And go ahead.
I could see myself getting annoyed that like I'm in this headspace to have a serious conversation and you're trying to come on like you're auditioning for Comic View. This is like stop right now. But that's for me, because sometimes I can be a little serious. And to add to that, I feel like there's a lot of variables involved in when to have a conversation. It needs to be like the appropriate timing when there's enough. I think it would be good to let, in a perfect world, it would be great to be like, hey, I want to have a conversation. But then if somebody says I want to have a conversation with me, I'm like, oh my gosh, what do we need to talk about? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? Is it going to be, oh my gosh. And it's like, oh my goodness. But
Hey,
maybe
Clara.
saying
Hey,
like,
Clara.
I want to talk about where we are in our relationship. So making sure we have enough time, and it shouldn't be like on your way to church where you're going to have to get off in 10 minutes to go to Bible study and you're not able to get everything out, or the person isn't able to properly respond. It shouldn't be, like you said, keeping somebody from going to work, from going to sleep, knowing that they need to wake up in a couple hours. And then also it needs to be the correct and appropriate method of communication. I've done this in the past, written super long text messages to get my feelings out, because in a previous conversation, I felt unheard.
We ain't reading that. We're not reading that.
So I resorted to this diary page.
No.
And that's not the appropriate way to communicate through an email or text message or emojis telling a story. That's not the right way.
All
And
right,
making
anybody reading
sure
that?
that they're in a good space and have time and that they're willing to engage in the conversation.
I'm glad you don't do that no more, because nobody want to read especially no men, no long. I don't. When I used to be on Facebook,
You're
I'm not on
saying you
Facebook.
don't read it? You wouldn't have read it?
No, when I'm on Facebook, even when
no.
I'm not on Facebook anymore, but I'm on Facebook and somebody got a long post where you got to push that little button to see the rest. I'm like, oh hell no, I'm not reading this. So if you sent me a long email, a long text, I'm gonna skim through it, look for some
What
keywords.
people, men in the comments, are y'all reading my
No.
previous long messages? Like,
No.
what did I
Hell
type
no.
all that
Hell no.
for?
For
Now I
you.
got carpal
For
tunnel
you.
from writing this long message, and you didn't even, you just discarded it. What?
Skim it. We're gonna skim. Did everybody chime in on that one?
Yeah.
What's I don't know. I don't think
Feelings
everybody
are
chimed
hurt.
in. So the question was, how do you approach discussion about something difficult or sensitive?
It,
Who got-
well, to echo what everybody has already said, it doesn't matter what you say, it's how you say it. It's in the delivery and knowing the person, kind of like what Victoria, I'm sorry, said earlier, knowing that individual and the approach to take, because there are some people that, they need the hard, raw truth that Ed is trying to dish out. And there are some people that just need a little bit more tact, a little bit more sensitivity, So yeah, knowing that person individually makes a world of a difference.
That's good. So Kyra, I want you to go into the chat one more time. We got 2 more questions. So Obi, I want you to ask the next one. Then I'm gonna lock it up with the last question. So while Kyra reading the chat, Obi, go and get your next question ready.
Okay.
All right. One person said that they're praying over this topic. Another person said, don't crack jokes depending on the subject. It can come across Blake, or like you're not serious or don't care, like childish. And then another person said, I'm a woman and I wouldn't read all that.
Wow. Hey, thank you for telling the truth, whoever you are.
Shame the devil, tell the truth.
Yeah, for real.
I haven't done that in a little while, so I feel like I've kind of graduated a little bit. Not saying I couldn't resort back, but I'm working on some things.
But Kyra, we can tell you detail orientated, so we know that you want to make sure you get all the details out. So there's nothing missed. So you be like, no, Obi, I put everything in chronological order. Your ass didn't read it. So I grabbed the air probably. I don't know if you're air grabber because you're from California, but you might grab the air. You didn't read it, Obi. So that's on you, boo-boo.
I didn't read it.
Write your autobiography. You good? Go ahead. Let them know.
Right. And that made me think of it was something from a tool that we talked about earlier, but I had lost my train of thought. For me, what works is being specific. And like, instead of generalizing, I don't like this or I don't like that. On Thursday morning, when you said this to me, it made me feel that way. And that's the reason that I responded and said XYZ. So giving specific examples that people can recall, and instead of being like, yeah, I don't remember, I don't know what you're talking about, it escaped my mind. Okay, let me remind you and paint this picture for you. It was Thursday. The moon was out. You could see Venus.
Kyra, we don't need X. We don't want Y and Z. We just need X. When you get to Z, we're like, oh shit, what the hell are we talking? We don't just need
You get the Y. You talking about Z?
I'm sorry, we having fun. Go ahead, Obi. With your
All right. So this question is specifically for the ladies in the chat and on the panel. And I'm talking about men and women communicating. Like, how do you fix communication when it's broken? Or how do you fix communication when there's a lack of communication from men? Like, how do you fix that?
I think the first step to fixing it is acknowledging that there is an issue and that there's a problem. Whether that is I don't feel heard, or I think that we have a communication issue, and having a discussion about it so that they can understand why you feel that there's communication, because they may not feel like there's a communication at all because they haven't been exposed or don't know how to effectively communicate, or they think they're the best communicator in the world when really the communication that they're doing doesn't work for you. And so acknowledging it, discussing it, and coming up with a plan to collectively work on finding solutions and resolving the problem.
Victoria, Jen?
I think it's important to identify how often the communication is broken. I do not like to waste my time. So if the communication is broken multiple times, then I will start to come into my own understanding that the communication is being broken for a reason. So what is not being productive and fruitful anymore is not for me. So if the communication keeps getting broken after a couple amount of times, I will have to have a healthy conversation and decide to either end it or to, I guess, explain the reasonings for why I do not find that this is being productive for me, myself, and I. In terms of the second part of the question was if there's no communication at all. Again, going back to not wasting my time, I'm not going to sit there and try to force you out of where your little shell is. I will take that time to understand you as a person, but if I am trying to give and take, but you're not giving me a lick, I can't take but so much.
Not giving me a lick.
Girl.
Come out of your little shell. She said what she said.
So she said she gonna have a come to Jesus conversation with you. That's what she really saying without saying that.
Be ye not entitled to my time. I get it. Well, I think in my opinion, what need is not being met? What are you not dealing with that is causing there to be a break or a gap in communication? If we can figure that part out, for men, hope this isn't sexist, but y'all are heavy on respect. So if y'all feel as if I'm not being respectful and that's what's causing y'all to shut down or not want to, give me an inch, then I would need y'all to identify that. Again, the core themes, right? What is causing the issue in our relationship, in our communication, in our conversations? Once that's identified, then it would be up to me to be able to either acknowledge it and try to bring resolution to it, or in Tori's case, right, I could decide to hands off and back up. It is, depends on what the need is. And then it would be up to y'all to communicate that need. Sometimes I want to pretend as if everything is fine and there is no issue, but being able to self-assess and then communicate that need will make a world of a difference.
Y'all are on fire, Obi.
Sure.
Yeah, Lee, this is the way you kick off a new year. This is the way you kick it off, Kyra. I gotta give y'all props before the show even go off. Normally I give people the props behind the scene, but y'all are on fire tonight. Man, that's some good stuff. That was a good question, Obi. Because I think sometimes people do be not communicating well. Me back in the day. So that was a very good question. And asking those questions to the ladies, I like it. So we gonna end on this last one and then we'll get everybody final thoughts. Last one of the night. And it's so good. You don't want to end, but we gotta go. We ain't about to be here all night with y'all.
We don't need that.
Huh?
Saying we don't need that.
That's my don't hate on my vocal. See, you probably listening, Kyra, and communicating.
I am.
I could have hurt my feelings.
Listening.
I could have been sensitive right now, and you like, oh, we don't need that. See, that's what I'm talking about, ladies. So when y'all start saying all this and turning your head, we don't want all that. We don't want all that.
Put it in the comments if you needed that, so he can know.
God. There she go with this foolishness. Oh God.
I'm just playing. So the last one is, can you share an example of time when you had good communication and help strengthen your relationship?
Mm.
So can you share an example of a time you had good communication and it helped strengthen your relationship? I have to exit stage left on this because I can't think of a time that helped my
A-
relationship.
And my answer is gonna be quick, but I just think you have to over communicate. I mean, there's never enough communication to me. Enough communication to me. As long as you're communicating with your significant other and you're mature, I think everything will work itself out.
That's good. Hold on, Obi. I got you, Obi. Wait, that was good. Let me do my boy
Thank you.
Obi right because
I
the dude
appreciate you
gonna be
giving me
doing
some
Obi right. He
bars.
doing,
Woo. Hey, let me do like Clara. Give me some attitude,
ladies.
I have an example that I can share. For me, sometimes I can get frustrated and want to just disconnect completely, um, and kind of just shut it down. And there's a relationship where I was in, and the person didn't accept that. They knew how I was, they knew why I was that way. And so, even though I said, quit calling me, I don't want to talk to you, they would come over and say, we're going to have a discussion. I'm here to listen to what you have to say. Let's get through this together. Because um it was, I mean, they knew me. And did I really want to like never talk to you again? No, because I love and care about you. But I'll say shenanigans when I'm frustrated or feeling a type of way. And so being able to say, like, I don't know what you're used to in the past or whatever, but the buck stops here. We're going to get through this together and we're going to talk about it. And I want to hear and listen to what you have to say. And I'm going to let you know how your tomfoolery is affecting me and let you know how I'm feeling and what I have to say and how we can get through this collectively. So I really learned a lot from that relationship.
That's good. Obi, you got one? Oh, you ever said yours? Ladies, y'all got any examples?
I think I'm just an a communicator. Period. I was one of those kids in class that got moved around because I was always chatting too much. But I would echo what was said earlier, that over communication is probably better. Those check-ins make a world of a difference. My husband and I will, on occasion, and we actually started more scheduled, but the schedule kind of became part of our routine, just doing check-ins, like, how are you doing? How am I doing as a husband? What can I do more of? What do you need more of? What do you need less of? This way you're kind of growing and maturing, because who I was when my husband and I first got married is not who I am today. And so learning me as I grow, that is a direct result of just open communication and allowing space, without taking defense. That's really, really important, because sometimes it's easy for us to become defensive when things are brought to our attention. And understanding, again, that emotional vulnerability, that I'm not attacking you, I'm not attacking your character, I'm just telling you what doesn't work for me today where I am. So yeah, I think that that's not an exact example, but that's something that has proven to be really important in my relationship.
For me, I think it was important for me to understand that before I can communicate with someone else, I had to communicate with myself and understand that what's causing me to want to shut down, what's causing me to not want to communicate with this topic. And if I can think of an example, there was one time where I was too afraid to communicate with something. So when I understood the root of my lack of wanting to communicate, I was able to kind of push past that and have that nitty gritty conversation that I didn't want to have out of fear. But in the end, I realized I was really afraid of nothing.
That's good. I think just sitting here listening to you guys talk for the last hour and some change, Really put a lot of perspective on things. But I think people need to be honest. Like I've been honest with you guys tonight and said, I wasn't a good communicator, you know. So maybe people, I'm not just saying men, because it might be ladies too, say, hey, I'm not a good communicator. So the other person can know, okay, I have to come at this a different way. I don't have to sugarcoat or anything, but I might have to come in a different direction because it's telling me he's not a good communicator. So okay, I still like him. So how can I do this? You know, Kyra's saying I'm not the strongest when it comes to communicating. I'll listen, but I'm not the strongest when it comes to articulate my words and really expressing my feelings. And I think we need to be honest too with that and letting people know that up front. So therefore, people can go accordingly to whatever subject you're talking about or whatever's happening. But people trying to lie and trying to front and trying to hide, nothing about hiding and being scared or anything, like Victoria said. But if you got to be honest with yourself, so therefore people can you got self-assess and people can assess the situation and you be able to move forward instead of they thinking that you can communicate and now they're mad at you because you're not a good communicator, but they didn't know that shit and they're like, this is blows up. So I think needs to be honest, and that's why was honest with. I wasn't honest before, not being able to communicate. I just wasn't a communicator. I thought the young ladies can figure it out on their own, but I'm learning that you can't let somebody just figure it out. You have to be able to tell them like, "Hey, I'm not strong in the suit, but I'm getting better." And so this is you ladies tonight, and Obi and other gentlemen. I've learned a lot. So we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna let Victoria your final words about the show. What do you thought about the show in the whole?
I enjoyed my time here. I actually was able to share my sentiments as well as gain a lot of knowledge and information from both male and female perspectives. So I think this is very healthy communication at its finest. I am very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Jen, we're gonna go to you. What's your final thoughts?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thought it was comical. Learned a lot from different perspectives, and it's been fun. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jen. Obi, what you thought about tonight's conversation?
Great topic, great show, great panelists, great info in the chat. And I think it was a good start to 2025.
I think it was an excellent start.
And
Kyra,
real quick,
go ahead.
Somebody in the chat said it best, and I think it was somebody named Shayla. And I hate to use names, but she said, "We listen and we don't judge."
That's good. Listen and don't judge. That's real good. Kyra, give your final thoughts and then give the other little information that people need to know.
All right. I thought the engagement was amazing. I loved Victoria and Jen's, everybody's perspective, but really enjoyed having you ladies on the show. Definitely would love to have you on again. And I think that at the end of the day, no one is a mind reader. Most people are not. And it is important to communicate and to know that no one knows how you feel if you don't communicate it to them. And so just being able to evaluate and acknowledge and be committed to put the work in and to be patient in watching the process develop and grow into a healthy relationship so that it will flourish and thrive. And also to know what's not healthy. And like Victoria said earlier, if that person constantly isn't listening or constantly is dismissive, then that might be someone that's not worth your time. And you need to either shift the relationship from maybe dating or courting or whatever to just a friendship, or maybe even end it because they're not respecting your time or how you feel. And so, yeah.
That was real good, Kyra. What else we got coming up?
So we have a time change and day of the week coming up, effective next week, we're changing. So the new day that we're going to be going live is going to be Tuesdays. So we're changing from Wednesdays at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time to Tuesdays, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Make sure that you click like and subscribe and that you have the notifications turned on so that you will be notified each Tuesday at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time when we're going to go live. Tuesdays, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, new time going forward for the new year. And then, secondly, I'm very excited to say, y'all have heard me say the numbers over and over all of 2024. And so we are currently at 209 subscribers. And as Ed mentioned before, every time that we hit 2,000 as 200, excuse me, as a milestone, we're going to celebrate that and give back to a person that has that is participating and that is with us. And so in the upcoming weeks, in the month of January, we will be picking someone that is going to get a gift from us to you, just to say thank you for rocking with us. Thank you for your support. Thank you for tuning in, for liking, subscribing, and sharing. So we want to give back to you all that have given into us and watched and supported through the comments and different things like that. We appreciate you. We're looking forward to an amazing 2025. And those are my public service announcements, Ed.
Okay, and can you mention lastly about what we're going to do at the end of the month?
Oh, yes. At the end of the month, instead of having, so on the last Tuesday at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we are going to have a family chat, which means it's going to be myself, Ed, and Obi just talking about anything that comes up. We also invite you as the you watching to ask any kind of questions or engage in any kind of conversation that you would like to have. So we'll be answering whatever you ask us to an extent. Y'all know I have boundaries, so
And mention if they bring somebody with them.
Oh. Remember I told y'all about my memory and how I like to take notes? I did not take a note on what I needed to say. Additionally, on the last Tuesday of the month, we are going to do a drawing. And so the goal is for each person to invite 3 to 5 people and have like at least 2 to 3 people show up. And when you do that, tag us, let us know who you invited and that they're on, and then we'll do a raffle so that a person wins a prize.
That's good. That's a church announcement, y'all.
I want to try something new that we did not discuss earlier, so it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. But I just want to give a shout out to people that are joining us for the first time. We have recently changed platforms, and we went away from Facebook and I don't even know what the other platform was, but we're focusing on growing our audience on TikTok. And so I've been in the TikTok comments and on the YouTube comments. And I just want to say, I see y'all. I appreciate y'all. Continue to tune in. If it's your first time, welcome. And we hope to see you next Tuesday at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
Yes, TikTok been showing up. That's good. Hey, y'all, that's our show. So if you like this show and you want to donate to us, there's a QR code right on the screen. All monetary gifts are appreciated. We thank you in advance for your gifts. But we do understand that you might not be able to scan the QR code because you might be on your phone. So there's a cash tag right on the bottom of the screen. Our cash tag app is $Nutz, NUTZ, Boltz, BOLTZ1. All right. If you want to donate and you want to donate to us, cool. And we appreciate it. Also, we're looking for sponsors. if you like to sponsor the podcast, or if you like for us to advertise your business, you can hit up Tashina Nicole on Facebook. Don't hit me on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook anymore, so I guess we got to change that. But hit up Tashina Nicole on Facebook, or you can email me at eddieed30@gmail.com. If you want to sponsor us, or you want us to advertise your business, if you're a poet, you write a book, you got an apparel company, you do hair, you do lashes, you do nails, whatever you do, hit us up. We got you, right? Okay. And yeah, I think that was a great show.
I have one last thing. Sorry. So Ed, earlier you said Miss Victoria and Miss Jen can sing. I just wanted to know, I'm not asking you to sing, but I would like to know again the name of your group, and if there's like a website or social media that you can go to listen to your lovely voices.
You got that one.
Oh, thank you. Wow. So we sing with Elevation Choir from Elevation Church, and we are live on Sundays. So join us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and you'll be able to see us maybe if the camera pans. But yeah. Thank you.
So I can tell you exactly where they at. Victoria be on the front row on the right side. Jen be on the second or third row on the left side. So y'all can check them out.
Not the exact coordinates.
I'll be looking. I'm like, oh, they go to the celebrities. They sit in my section. I volunteered there, and they sit in my section, so I'll be knowing.
It's the best section.
It really is.
Yeah, but that's it. That's our show. That's it. That's all. Oh, if you'd like to be on next week's show, you can also reach out to Tashina Nicole on Facebook. Not me, but you can reach out to Tashina Nicole on Facebook if you'd like to be on next week's show. Again, not to say the same thing Kyra said, but it's going to be on Tuesday. So y'all come on Wednesday. Don't be mad at us. You watch the rebroadcast. Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Central time, 7 p.m. Central time and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, y'all. That was a great show. And like I say, every single week that we on here, I love you. God loves you. Go out and be great on purpose. Peace out. Thank y'all for coming. Ooh, Cowboys.
They did not make it to the playoffs. I'm going to just say that.
I don't care.